Dímelo, mi gente. What's up? It's your boy Gus from Gus Villa Jewelry, back with another season of the podcast. And we're kicking off this season's podcast with another Rolex AD experience that I want to share with you guys. But this one, rather than it being an absolute flop, was a really great experience. And I want to tell you guys about it. I want to tell you guys what happened, how it affects my own personal business, my relationship with an AD. I'm going to give you some in-house secrets, so make sure to stay to the end because this is going to be a good one. You don't want to miss out. Roll that music.
Gus Villa Jewelry.
So as you guys probably had seen before, I did an episode very similar to this where I went down to an art district Rolex boutique here in Miami, Florida, and it couldn't have gone any worse. Quite literally, it was one of the worst experiences I've had at a store in general, regardless if they were selling watches or not. It was pretty damn bad. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to link the description up here to give you a condensed version of it. Essentially what happens is I walked into a Rolex boutique here in Miami, Florida, and basically got kicked out without actually getting kicked out. I barely got let in. The representative was completely rude to me, and essentially it tells the story of how Rolex at the time, this was a couple of months ago, was feeling about the market. There is an endless amount of demand. There's not enough supply. So it's kind of a get out of jail free card from all these representatives at the boutiques to tell people to basically go kick rocks. They weren't going to help you. They're not going to actually try to introduce you to the brand. Maybe if you're a newbie into the Rolex game, they're just like, hey, we got so many people wanting our Rolexes that we could genuinely care less. And it didn't actually dawn on me how many people also had that same experience until I started reading the comments below that very video. So many people doing the exact same thing, so many boutiques doing the exact same thing, so many other people feeling the exact same way that I felt. So it was good so that we can all share this frustration, because at the end of the day, we are watch fans, right? We love watches, and hence why we're going to spend our hard-earned money into one of these boutiques. And to be treated like that, to be honest with it, is a direct reflection of the brand. And I also gave you kind of a comparison to how important customer service is. And now that I did a really bad experience, it's only right that I repeated the experience. But this time, if you talk about the bad, you also have to talk about the good. So this one is actually a really positive story. And let me paint the picture of what went down. I had a business trip to go to in New York to buy and sell some watches, plus to do some content. And I went out there and I had basically a couple of hours to kill. I was staying somewhere near Central Park and I had been down in the Diamond District. So I was climbing my way back up to our hotel at the time. As I was doing that, I started stopping and looking at all the various stores around there. There was an Omega, there was a Tiffany's, and all these beautiful stores. Let's be serious, you can get lost in the New York City streetlights quite easily. So I was navigating my way around there when I stumbled upon a Wempe. Wempe has been around for over 120 years. It's an awesome boutique store. It sells Tudor, it sells Citizen, it sells, probably not Citizen, but it sells all the high-end brands, Breitling, etc. And there was a Rolex location in a beautiful stand there, and I was with my boy and we said, you know what, let's just go in there. They're probably going to tell us to go kick rocks again. Granted, I haven't been into an AD since then. And so when I walked in there, I was like, hey man, I'm going to go in here with a clear conscience of not having any already some judgments laid out on what these people are going to treat me like. I'm going to walk in there. I wasn't dressed necessarily the fanciest. I was kind of like this in some sports gear. I had my watch on, and I walked in there and said, let me just see what they have. Maybe they'll have something interesting. Chances are they won't. So I walked in there. It was a Wempe. It's the one right next to, if I'm not mistaken, there's like a Chopard in the area. I know there's the Grand Plaza, and it's right on the southwest or southeast corner of Grand Central Park. So I found my way in there and I said, okay, you know what? There's probably not going to be anything available, but that's okay. As long as I can have a positive experience, plus they had some Tudors there. Let's try some of those bad boys on and let's see what they have. You know, if I like any one of these Tudors, I'll probably snag one up, but if they have a Rolex, that's really what I'm looking for. I walked in there and I was greeted almost immediately. There wasn't any hesitation when I walked in the door. It was, hey, doors open, swung right in. I walked right in. And I was greeted in the Rolex section. They have like one right to the right-hand side, a section that's just all about Rolex. There was a representative being helping out some customer there. And then there was the lady that dealt with me. I won't give out her name, but there was an awesome lady. She came out, she greeted me with a smile, shook my hand and introduced herself. So right off rip, right off the 30 seconds that I was in there, I already felt like someone actually wanted to talk to me. We exchanged pleasantries, blah, 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 blah. And she said, hey, how can I help you? What are you looking for? Of course, I kind of let her know that I had already been in the market for a Rolex. And I told her, hey, I'm looking for a Rolex, but to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure you guys are not going to have anything here. So I'm just kind of looking around, maybe, you know, whatever. We could just chop it up. The lady turned around. She goes, hey, I actually have something available. And I couldn't believe it, of course, but she turned around. And of course, it was probably the one model that not even my grandmother, who's blind in one eye, is gonna want. And it was a 36mm Datejust with a smooth bezel, two-tone and rose gold. I mean, it was just that's such an ugly watch. It really is. Like, God, for the one person in the million that buys that watch, I totally get it, but I'm not the customer there, and I think most people that like Rolexes aren't. Smooth bezels on Datejust is diabolical, okay? You should not be buying that. If you do buy it, you have no taste in watches, fight me. But anyway, and I was like, you know, I saw it and I was like, hey, ma'am, listen, probably why you have it. It's a smooth bezel Datejust. Come on, let's be serious. Nobody likes it. She kind of giggled around and she was like, yeah, that's kind of the only thing that we have right now. She's like, but what are you interested in? I said, I'm looking for a Day-Date with a green dial. Obviously, that's going to be very, very hard to get, you know, and I let her know, hey, I understand that it's very, very hard to get. But it wasn't, the difference between what happened right after that exchange was the fact that she didn't necessarily stop my inquiry and tell me to scram, that I only wanted the high-end watches. I understand that there are some people that in there that wanted GMTs and Daytonas. I personally like to get my watches that I keep for my collection from an actual AD. I can get, of course, in the gray market and pay a premium for it, which is fine. However, I like to get them because I keep them. I keep them for myself. I don't sell them. So I wanted a Day-Date and I wanted a green dial. And she told me, hey, listen, it's not so impossible to get them. You know, long story short, we had the nicest conversation about watches. There wasn't anybody else in the store, so I wasn't holding anybody up, nor does she have a huge plethora of watches out there. So where she needed to get rid of them and she's like losing on her commission time. It was just her experience talking to me and letting me know, hey, listen, these are the things that we've gotten recently. Maybe put your name down. And they gave me the paper where it tells me to put my name down and an email, and they're never gonna call me for it, and that's okay. But the point is, even if it were just to talk about watches, she started telling me the watches that she liked, started talking to me about models that she had seen. It was a very welcoming, very positive conversation that we were having. And very quickly, I lost the fact in my head of this preconceived notion that everyone in Rolex ADs were jerks and they were just trying to get you out of the store. I even forgot that I was talking to a salesperson. It was just like two people that were into watches that just chopped it up for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I genuinely don't even think it was more than a 10-minute interaction. But the interaction was so cool. It was so warm. It was so dope. I think it was a big lesson as we were talking, even though, like I said, I'm probably not going to get the phone call. And if I do, great. But if I don't, you know, whatever. There was no false hope. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to call you in 2 weeks with a Day-Date. That's not going to happen, right? It wasn't get the hell out of here. It was just her spending 5 to 10 minutes just to greet me, to make me feel okay about the experience of being inside a boutique. I let her know the kind of watches I was into. She let me know what kind of watches she was into. I put my name on this piece of paper and she was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, if ever it happens or if I ever get the chance to call you, I will call you, whatever. And like I said, it's not about the phone call. It's because I know all the ADs are doing that, but it's the little time that she took just to make my experience a positive one. That was the difference between me wanting to buy once again from an AD like Wempy, which I will, as opposed to going to another boutique who just literally tells you to go kick rocks when you walk in and barely lets you in. I am not going in there expecting to buy a Panda Daytona. I understand that that is a very sought after watch, but even if that were the case, you still are getting a paycheck from Rolex, the brand. You are still getting a paycheck from these manufacturers that we adorn and we idolize. You are a direct representative of these particular brands. That's why you get elected to become an authorized dealer, because you are going to represent the brand in the most positive way. The customer service they experience there is what the brand wants you to have, hence why they're selected to begin with. And I feel that those little small interactions are what keep me coming back in a positive way. We live right now in a world where the mistrust that is being exposed on the internet is all things that we have to, as sellers of watches and jewelry and fine items, have to overcome every time we gain a new customer. So to put that into context, anyone that calls me right now has no idea who I am. I am just somebody that they met on YouTube, somebody that they've met a couple of pictures and videos on Instagram. And to be honest with you, you have no idea who I am as a person. You don't know if I'm a thief. You don't know if I'm a good person, a bad person. It's just someone who you are making this perception with online, right? And so when you go out there and you spend hard-earned money to buy a chain, to buy a watch, to buy a custom piece, whatever it is you're purchasing from me, the job of the person who is selling you this item, whatever it may be, has to be to make you feel comfortable and to make you feel like they are earning your business. The lady at Wempe who helped me out is someone that genuinely wanted my business. Whether that was genuine on her side, it felt so as mine, but it was enough for me to come back. Right now, more than ever, everything is automated. Everything is technology. Everything is just sign out here. Now I can order pizza through an app and never even see the person. They just drop it off and I just tip them. In other words, there is no human touch to anything that we do. Think about when you wanted toilet paper in 1954 as opposed to wanting toilet paper right now. Right now, you could literally be in the toilet, taking a crap, wiping your ass and say, you know what? I need more toilet paper. You jump on your phone, you do 3 clicks maximum, you swipe right, and in quite literally less than 48 hours, there's someone throwing a box in front of your crib with brand new toilet paper to wash your ass, right? That's the life that we live right now. Everything is like that. It's an extreme example, I get it. But there's no human touch. In 1954, you were sitting in that same porcelain dome taking a shit and you wanted some toilet paper. You had to get up, get your little notepad and go out there, pull that toilet paper from the thing, talk to a cashier, talk to them, blah, 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 blah. And that's how you would wipe your ass. Quite literally, that's what happened. A small interaction like that, the human touch to everything that we do is being lost. It's automated. Everything is AI. Everything is 100% clicking buttons and receiving items. Gone are the days where people actually have to do customer service. It's a lost art. You just don't see it anymore. So it's a beautiful, I can't tell you how beautiful of a thing it is to get somewhere and there is some human behind it that actually cares. More specifically, that dedicates 5, 10, 15 minutes of their time, which is the most precious asset that we have as humans, because we can never get it back and we all have a bucket and once it's gone, it's gone. They're dedicating that 10 to 15 minutes to you to tell you, hey man, here is the customer service that you deserve. Here's the attention that you deserve and everything that goes along with it. Brother, I can't explain to you how different of an experience that was as opposed to what I lived in Miami. And I know that also has to do with the fact that times are softening up. There isn't such an insane demand for any single watch because all these flippers that were out there that were just swallowing up inventory from all the ADs and just going out there and reselling it because everybody wanted Rolexes because they were so-called investors at the time. Now those people are gone. So now the regular consumer who is just into the watch, not because they can make a pretty penny, not because it's going to be more valuable, because they're into a Panda Daytona, because they're into a two-tone sub, because they're into whatever the hell it is, they're into the watches. Those people that are actual watch enthusiasts can come out and go to a Rolex and maybe not necessarily get the watch right on the spot, but damn it, they will get that call. We are all getting that call, especially from ADs right now, because the market is softening up. So maybe they're realizing that because the demand isn't there no more or as insane, they have to play a little customer service. But damn it, if that doesn't feel good as a consumer of someone who's wanting to buy something, of someone who actually has money and worked hard for it and wants to go reward themselves with a watch. A lot of times, man, I put myself in you guys' shoes, right? And I say, I don't have the connection with these ADs. I don't have the connection, and I have to go do it the old-fashioned way, right? And the old-fashioned way is building relationships. I talk to my guys that work at Gus Villa Jewelry all the time. The most important thing that you could do as a business owner, as a consumer, as anybody that wants something is to maintain relationship. That's quite literally the most important part. I would rather have 3 guys that work for me that all know how to build relationships rather than the guy who's gonna work 1,000,000 miles per hour and do things really, really fast. Why? Because that person is gonna know how to maintain a relationship with myself, plus the people that we expose them to and other vendors, so that whenever you do need a favor, you have somewhere to lean on. That's how this business world works. If you, as a person A, who wants to buy a Rolex from an AD, especially in a time like right now that things have softened up, and even more so now with Rolex buying Bucherer, which is now going to be one of, it's a power move, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. You have a unique type of situation where if you can build a relationship with an AD, you will get that phone call. You will get it. And right now, you will get it. A year and a half ago, you're never going to get it. Now you will. Now, how the hell do you do that as a person? Every once in a while, every 3 to 4 months, you go in there and you just talk shop with the people who work there. Learn a name. Learn someone's name when you get there. I can't tell you this person's name because I don't want to expose her. Maybe some people are living in New York and they go down there. But the point is, I mentioned her name a couple of times as we were having that conversation. When I go back to the city, guess what? I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to introduce myself once again. She may or may not remember me. Who knows? But she's going to learn my name and she's going to keep me in the back of her mind. So when that time comes and that green dial Day comes out, she gonna call me. She's probably not, but what I'm saying, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, you go out there and you build these relationships. This is how you get somebody to call you for a watch that you really want. The point of all I'm trying to make right now is relationships matter, customer service matters, and that human touch is the most important thing that you could possibly go with. I ended up leaving the store. I put my name on a paper and I walked out of there, and you know, who knows if they call me or not. That's not really the point, but it was such a different experience. I came back preaching Wempy, and I hadn't even heard of this store, and I went later on and did a little research and realized that they've been around since forever, and they've been in New York City since forever, and they're a very, very trusted brand. But I couldn't have been more impressed with my experience. That's the kind of experience that I want to portray when you guys buy things from me, because at the end of the day, these are high ticket items. I get wires that get sent to me $30, $40, $50, $100,000 on a wire. They've never even met me before. So I have to go out of my way. If you think for a split second that you can't just call me and ask for Gus and guess for a call back and you're not going to get a call back from me, you're insane. You're insane. It doesn't matter whether you spend 30 minutes with me, an hour with me, if you spend $100,000 or you spend $100 with me. It doesn't matter. The point I want to make is the customer service is what matters. And that's what I hopefully portray to you guys. Now, am I perfect? Absolutely not. There are certain people that I can never click with and that they're going to think that I do poor customer service. Maybe they try emailing me a million times and I can't do email because I'm just too busy to sit there and answer everyone's email. And I tell people to call me. They don't want to be called. That's okay. They may think I have poor customer service because I don't want to sit there and answer every single one of their questions through email. I just can't do it. But if you want to talk to me and you want to make a human connection, or you want to come down to Miami and you want to chop it up for 10, 15, 20 minutes, do it. I'm here. I'm not untouchable. You guys can reach me as much as I can reach you, because at the end of the day, I need you more than you need me. And that is a fact. And I will always know that. And I will always understand the power of customer service and making you as a consumer feel wanted and special, because you are. Not just because it's a front, it's the actual reality of what it goes. So I can't thank this representative at Wempy enough. I can't thank you guys, as always, as customers of mine, enough. And I hope that this brings light if you are a business owner or you are in the market of buying a Rolex. I hope you got some value out of this, because I really, really try to give it out there so that you could become a more smart consumer. And then at the same time, those business owners that are out there that are listening to me, the importance of real customer service, it goes a long, long way. Thank you guys for checking out GusVillaJewelry.com. Of course, if you guys are in the mood for a little Q and link chain, I got this little try link. I still got it. If you want to watch, I buy and sell watches all the time. If you want some rings, engagement rings, if you're going to pump that question, hit me up. We could design awesome rings. I got a couple of really big clients. You guys know who they are, making some really, really awesome rings that we're going to make possible. GusVillaJewelry.com. The new podcast season is going to be out very, very soon. It's going to have some dope guests. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Holla at me.